From the developers that brought you How to Piss Off Your Neighbor Sweet Revenge comes a game that's utterly ridiculous yet strangely satisfying. Introducing SuperCow, the game that will help you find peace in the midst of chaos. So if you're a doomer looking to become a bloomer, then this game is for you. Let me tell you why. Look, just so you know, this game from 2007 has an entire modding community. This review is not a joke. If you thought the game is like The Ring or Mystery the Druids are like the deep part of the gaming iceberg, well, think again. Let's start off with the plot.
Professor Duriati, a famous criminal, has escaped from prison. Meanwhile, on the farm in Sunny Valley, life was good. But then, Professor Duriati came and seized the farm and captured the animals. Through her network of informants, SuperCow heard about the situation and dashed off to save the farm animals. Because, after all, who knows how to save the farm better than SuperCow?
The plot is shallow as a puddle of cow piss, but that's the beauty of it. No need to collect random notes or audio logs to get the full picture. In SuperCow, you're tasked with saving a farm from an evil doctor. It's like Mario, but with more cow and less mushrooms. For some, it may seem that the game is some Resident Evil spin-off. I mean, evil doctor who happens to be a bioengineer screwing around and experimenting with animals. Though instead of Chris Redfield saving the day, we've got SuperCow. Look, I primarily make Resident Evil cosplay guides on this channel, so I see Resident Evil in everything. After the first cutscene, we are greeted with an overmap with all the levels and key points in the story. To the left, we have, Yeah, I actually think that the diary entries in this game are perhaps the most interesting part of the game. She goes into a whole lot of detail to explain her thoughts, wishes after every level. Jumping in, your first impressions may be, hey, this looks nice, and yes, it does look nice, but don't let the visuals fool you. This game is based as fuck, and you'll see later why down the line. Fundamentally, SuperCow is a platformer akin to Mario. You will collect coins, find treasure, as well as dispose of empty oil barrels to both save the environment and earn points. The game even states how profitable it is to do so, and cleaning the planet is good, so you better do so. Hey, if Greta won't get you, then the cow will. The gameplay is fairly straightforward. Your objective in most cases is to get to the end of the level, but collecting coins is also good, and treasures are hidden everywhere. There are other side objectives, like collecting keys or sometimes disposing of all the enemies, but levels with those objectives are a bit more rare. SuperCow, in most cases, it doesn't really force you to collect everything in advance. But for those who love collecting, this game is a treasure trove of hidden items and caches. The caches in this game are referred to as secrets, and they are hidden throughout the levels. It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack, except the needle is a cow and the haystack is a mutant snail. As you progress, the level design becomes slightly more harder each time, which is pretty good, keeps things fresh, and more new enemies get introduced as time goes on. As you make your way through the adventure, you'll get more cutscenes that dive a bit more into the plot.
Say goodbye to your cattle shed, big ears.
Come on, donkey, you're coming with us.
Some of these designs are pretty metal, I'm not gonna lie. It's not Treasure Island Dr. Leavesy levels, but it's close enough. Most characters that you stumble across during the story are animals. I mean, it's a farm, what do you expect? Except for dogs for some reason. The dogs are an enemy type in this game. There are also moles and crows, and boy do I hate these two. I'm starting to think that the moles get offended whenever I pass by their burrow, as whenever I get anywhere near close, their immediate response is to toss a massive rock into my face. Avoid these suckers at all costs. Crows are not much better, and later down the game they will use eggs as a bombardment technique for some reason. Aside from that, most other enemy types are ones such as snails, spiders, wasps, and so on, though they are far from the only obstacle that you will encounter. Death traps will also be common, so expect razor blades to emerge from the heavens. Luckily, this game does have a respawn system. You trigger checkpoints via these deja vu mushrooms, but if you run out of hearts, it's pretty much game over for you, though not entirely. Hearts can also be found throughout the game, and they're essentially your lives. You can recharge your regular health bar, however. To do so, you find medkits, milk cartons, or steal some fruit from the farm. They get the job done. Bosses are also present in this game, and like all other mobs, you dispatch them by caving their skulls in from above. They are not particularly challenging, and the game is quite easy if you know what you're doing, though it doesn't mean that this game is a complete breeze. You gotta apply yourself in certain scenarios. Let's talk about our protagonist. She may seem nice and sweet when talking to other animals in the cutscenes, but like a true queen, she listens to her gal's problems and will immediately proceed to write down what she actually thinks about them.
What's going on here?
Oh, SuperCow, it's the Knight's mare. I've lost 20 pounds.
The controls are firm and simple. Sadly, you cannot really rebind them, which can be annoying for some, though there are plenty of ways to control her. Power-ups can alter the gameplay slightly. Throughout the game, you'll find pickups such as a shield. And if you do find a power-up, just go ahead and make yourself a coffee, because the power-up respawn will renew every 3 to 5 seconds or so, which means you can charge up your power-up timer to finish the entire level with it. There are some other power-up types, but I won't be covering them. The presentation, as mentioned before, is nice. The game has a cartoony art style that feels very cozy and will definitely warm your cold heart. Depending on the level, there'll be nice illumination, life shafts, and flowers, and a bunch of sparkly stuff. The sound effects from collecting treasure is also very satisfying. The game could have been all 3D, but keep in mind that the game was designed for your early 2000s refrigerator to be able to run it, hence why the 3D elements in the game are kept to a minimum. Since this game was made in 2007, it does not account modern resolutions, hence why the art assets may be stretched when running this game on modern display. Speaking of which, let's talk about the performance on modern machines. This game does not officially support modern resolutions. In fact, it will launch in 4x3 by default. However, it's not all doom and gloom. Because while making this video, I noticed that this game was actually recently added to Steam. The Steam community often has helpful guides that will help you get the game running properly, so I went there and nope, no guides. Despite the odds being completely against me, I found a discussion with a link to the SuperCow speedrunning and modding Discord server, and luckily for me, I found that they do have a fix for the resolution problem. Now my game runs in 16:9, instead of this. The fix is a small DLL file they put into the game's directory, so the installation process is fairly easy. Though I do think that because of this fix, some new bugs were introduced. Don't take my word for it, but there are a few instances where the game simply wouldn't load certain platforming assets. You do get a wider field of view due to the resolution increase, and maybe it impacted the game in some way, though those faulty instances were incredibly rare. So, should you play SuperCow? Well, if you get bored at work, then it's an easy yes. It's also a great way to occupy your younger relatives, in case they want to borrow your phone again to play some Fortnite or something. And hey, if you pass the game and get bored of it, hop onto the community Discord server. There are plenty of mods to try out. The server is primarily dominated by a Russian-speaking audience, but they all speak English as well, so they can guide you through any issues or desires you may have. I'd say that this just about does it, but then I realized that Alex Gordon also exists. The SuperCow Discord group told me that that game is also gaining a small community over time, and when I asked them, hey, does Alex Gordon also have a Discord? They just linked me this. Yeah, I'll save this one for later. Anyways, I've got some cosplay guys to finish. Until next time, everyone.